Alright, today we're going to continue with the line of best fit. So with the review, line of best fit, the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So this is what we're looking for our final answer, with the m and the b filled in as numbers. So remember, m stands for your slope. It's how you move from point to point. So either we can do some counting on the graph, though the scale sometimes doesn't let us do that. So we also have this formula where you take 2 points from the line and you subtract their y values. So take the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then the b value is your y-intercept. It's where the graph hits or intercepts the y-axis. Sometimes this is easy to visually see on a graph because you can see where it's hitting the y-axis. But there are times where the y-intercept is outside of the line. So you have to plug in an xy pair to figure out the b value. And we're going to look at examples of both. So we have 4 examples that we're going to work through today. So remember, you can pause at any time to try something out on your own first. You can also rewind to hear something again or see something again. So number 1, the line of best fit was drawn in using the data in the scatter plot below. Write the equation of the line of best fit. So I need to write the equation. I'm looking for something with y equals mx plus b, with m the slope and b the y-intercept filled in. So step 1, let's find the slope. The slope would be using these 2 points right here. So this is the point 30, 30, because it appears that the scale is going by tens, labeling every other one. And this point would be 90, 70. So each point is an x and a y. This one was first and this one was second. So now when I go to plug in for the formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, the second y was 70, and I'm going to subtract the first y, which was 30, over the second x, which was 90, minus the first x, which is 30. So now it's just a matter of doing some calculations. So I have 70 minus 30 over 90 minus 30, which is 60. So I'm going to do a little simplifying here. I can take out the zeros by dividing by 10, and then both 4 and 6 can be divided by 2. That's going to equal 2/3. So my slope is 2/3. So we're kind of going back to the old-fashioned way of simplifying fractions since we don't have those calculators. So now I know in the equation, m can get replaced with 2/3 for this line right here. So y equals 2/3 x plus b. So the y-intercept, can you see where this line is crossing the y-axis? We can. It's actually right there. And what is that value? It's going to be 10, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It's going by 10. So we can say y equals 2/3 x plus 10. There's the equation of the blue line that was drawn in. Now notice the slope is positive and the trend is positive. That should happen. That's kind of a quick check. All right, number 2, write the equation of the line of best fit for the data below. All right, so again, I'm looking for an equation. I'm looking for y equals x plus b. So we're going to find the slope and the y-intercept to fill in here. So I'm noticing that the y-intercept is not going to be shown to us. So it's not going to be as simple as number 1. But let's start with slope. So again, I'm looking for 2 points that I already have right on the line. So it looks like this one right here at 30, 15. That's 1 point. And then this is another point at 15, 35. And every point is an x and a y. This one just comes first on the line, and this one comes second on the line. So I'm going to find the slope. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm looking at the second y was 15 minus the first, which is 35, over the second x, which is 30 minus 15. So I'm looking at 15 minus 35, that's going to be negative 20. Over 30 minus 15, which would also be 15. So since negative 20 and 15 both end in 5 and 0, I can divide each piece by 5. So I'm looking at a slope of negative 4/3. So m can get replaced with negative 4/3 x, but we still got to find the y-intercept, which I can't see on the graph. So what I'm going to do this time, since I can't see what the b value, the y-intercept is, I'm going to plug in an XY pair to fill in numbers for these so I have an equation I can solve. I can't solve this equation with 3 different letters. So I'm going to use 30, 15. So 15 is going to replace the Y. Negative 4/3 times X, which is worth 30, so I can figure out the B value. So I'm going to do a little cleanup on this side of the equation. So I'm going to take 3 goes into 30 10 times. So now I have negative 4 times 10. Negative 40 plus b equals 15. So now all I have to do to solve this equation is to add 40 to both sides. Okay, so I have b equals 55. So if I go back and check that, it makes sense. It's getting closer and closer. So we're going to say y equals negative 4/3 x plus 55. Start at 55, go down 4, and write 3. Alright, so I highly encourage you to, at this point, to pause the video and see if you can solve number 3 and number 4. Get as far as you can with each of those 2 questions, and then play the video, pick back up and follow along with me. So hopefully you've gone through 3 and 4 at this point. In number 3, I already labeled my 2 points. I have 110 and 880 as my 2 points, so I'm looking for the slope. So I'm going to take the second y of 80 and subtract the first y of 10. Over the second x, which is 8, minus the first x, which is 1. So we're looking at 70 divided by 7, which is worth 10. So my equation would be y equals 10x plus I got to find the y-intercept. And luckily for us in this one, the y-intercept is shown. It's 0. So we can say y equals 10x plus 0. But I would also accept y equals 10x. When there is no plus a number, it's assumed that it's 0 because 0 represents nothing. And number 4, again, hopefully you've tried this one on your own first. So I have my equation. I labeled my first set of points and my second set of points. So my formula for the slope, I'm going to take y2, which is 3, and take away y1, which is 13. x2 is 6, take away 2. So I'm looking at 3 minus 13 would be negative 10, over 6 minus 2, which would be 4. I can simplify those. They're both even, so I'm going to divide them both by 2. So my slope in simplest form would be negative 5 halves. So right now I know that y equals negative 5 halves x plus the b value, which unfortunately I can't see the y-intercept. It's something just over 16. Maybe it's 17. Maybe it's 16 and a half. I got to find that. So to write the equation of the line for the age of a car and its resale value, again, my slope is negative, which makes sense. The older a car is, the less it's worth. So negative correlation, they're doing opposite things. Let's see how much it's worth. So this must be in tens of thousands of dollars. So let's see, I'm going to pick an XY pair. I'm going to go with 6, 3. So 3 equals negative 5 halves times 6 plus b. So to solve for b, I plugged in x and y value, so I only have one letter. Let's see, 2 will go into 6 3 times. So now I'm going to take negative 5 times 3. So negative 15 plus something equals 3. So if I add 15 to both sides, let's see, b equals 18. So it looks like my assumption, my guess was a little bit off. So I know y equals negative 5 halves x plus 18. So the car started at $18,000. And I can follow the trend of how much it's worth from year to year. It's losing 5 halves each year. And that's it for today.